Our movie begins with a girl named Lucky who loves animals. She was playing with a little squirrel when her Aunt Cora walked in and started yelling at her because she was sitting on the window ledge, especially since her grandfather was running for governor. Cora reminded her of what happened at the last party she attended. Lucky replied that mistakes happen and that it's natural. Cora told her to stop talking and get back to her studies. At that moment, Lucky's grandfather entered and told Cora that he couldn't believe he was finally going to be the governor. They left the room, and then the squirrel, whose name was Tom, started playing in Lucky's room, then went to the guest room in the palace and made a mess in front of her grandfather, who was photographed being embarrassed in front of everyone. Because of what happened, Cora decided to take Lucky to her father, who lived in the countryside until the summer and the election campaign were over. On the way, Cora talked to Lucky about her father. She told her that he had changed after her mother passed away and tried to explain that he wasn't a bad person, but the shock was too great for him. Cora went to get some tea and left Lucky alone. Lucky looked out the window and saw a wild horse running ahead of the herd. She went out to watch it and reached out to touch it, but she fell. A man appeared and saved her, telling her to stay away from the wild horses. Cora quickly came out and thanked him. He told her his name was Hendrix. When they arrived at the station, Cora reassured Lucky, telling her that summer would pass quickly and that her father would be happy to see her. Cora entered the office to ask about Lucky's father, who wasn't at the station. Lucky saw a cowboy competition happening nearby. She went to watch and saw a girl riding a horse. She stood there watching, and the girl told her that she looked like her mother. Lucky asked her, "Did you know my mom?" The girl replied, "Everyone here knows her." She gave Lucky a scarf and told her that every girl here has one like it, and that she should keep it as long as she belongs to this place. Cora arrived and started yelling. Lucky asked her, "Did you ever see Mom perform horse shows?" Cora said she was a very talented performer. Then a little boy arrived with a donkey and offered to take them home. Cora thanked him, but he made her ride the donkey against her will. His sister showed up, tied up the donkey, apologized, and introduced herself as Abigail, and said her horse's name was Boomerang. They arrived at Jim's house, Lucky's father. He was surprised to see them and welcomed them. He said he couldn't believe they were there and apologized for not being ready to receive them. He saw the scarf with Lucky and asked her about it. She told him that a girl in the competition gave it to her and that people told her she looked like her mom. Jim became nervous and left the room. Lucky peeked through a crack in the wardrobe and found a sewing room. She entered to explore and saw a picture of her mother on a horse. She heard a horse's sound from outside, looked out the window, and quickly went to see the place. She saw the girl from the competition and told her she was amazing. She asked her about the sound, and the girl told her they had brought a wild horse and were trying to tame it. Suddenly, Hendrix came out of the barn riding the horse and hitting it to make it obey. Lucky got angry and started yelling at him for torturing the horse, which eventually threw him off its back. She was very upset about how they were treating it. A man came and warned them about the harsh treatment, and Lucky took the opportunity to untie the horse's rope. She asked it, "Remember me? I saw you on the train." She returned home, and when Jim sat down to read the newspaper, he laughed during dinner. Lucky told him what had happened, but he ordered her to stay away from the horse. Lucky got upset, left the table, and went to her room. The next day, she refused to have breakfast when she saw her father and left the house after her Aunt Cora asked her to get some supplies. She went and bought some food and headed to the horse, which seemed upset. She tried to calm him down until Bo arrived and warned her that he was fierce. Bo taught her how to deal with him. Lucky tried to feed him potatoes, but Abigail saw her from afar, laughed at her, came over, and gave her an apple. She told her that horses love sweet things. Lucky tried to feed Spirit the apple, but he refused. Abigail reassured her that this was normal, even her horse took time to get used to her. Lucky picked some apples and threw them on the ground. Spirit ate them. She was very happy, and from then on, she brought him apples every day until one day he took the apple from her hand. She became even happier and started being kinder to her father. She went to Spirit and gave him a sugar cube and started getting closer to him. When she tried to ride him, he threw her off. She tried again, and he threw her again. At that moment, Abigail's younger brother entered the barn and opened the door, and Spirit ran out with Lucky on his back. The boy ran to Jim and lied, saying that the wind opened the door. Jim got very worried, and Bo and Abigail ran to save her before she fell from the cliff. Jim arrived, reassured himself that she was okay, started yelling, took her home, and told her that the rules in the wild are different. He decided to send her back to her grandfather's house. Lucky got upset and told him he was abandoning her again. But he said he was trying to protect her. She didn't listen. She jumped out of the window, took some apples, and ran away. As she walked, she saw glowing butterflies, and suddenly Spirit appeared in front of her. She hugged him, and they joined the rest of the wild horses. Lucky decided to feed them apples, but suddenly they heard Hendrix and his men hunting the horses. Lucky fell and kept screaming. They took the horses and loaded them onto the train. Lucky looked for Spirit, mounted him, and rode until she reached Bo and asked for her help. Bo told her the road was difficult, but Lucky told her about a shortcut and that the train would stop at stations. Abigail came and warned them of the dangers, but Lucky said she would go alone. They decided to go with her. Abigail started singing with her guitar. Her voice was terrible, but they all laughed. They shared funny stories until they reached a hanging bridge that collapsed before they crossed. They decided to jump with their horses, but Lucky and Spirit fell from the cliff. Lucky got up again, rode him, and continued their journey. They were happy when they crossed the path and decided to camp in the wild. Lucky and Bo were happy when Abigail gave them bracelets with the first letter of their names. Meanwhile, Jim was looking for Lucky. When he couldn't find her, he decided to take the train's trailer. The girls arrived at the train, stopped it, and fought the cowboys to rescue the horses. But Lucky realized she was dreaming. She woke them up so they could chase the train before it reached the station. They failed to save the horses, and Spirit was captured. The girls tried to encourage her, and Lucky decided to continue. The train arrived at the port, and the horses were loaded onto a ship. Lucky entered the train, and the girls opened the door for Spirit. Lucky rode him and escaped from the train. The ship began to move, and Hendrix was laughing. Lucky decided to climb the bridge. Her father and aunt saw her as she jumped with the horse toward the ship. Jim jumped into the water to save her. Spirit faced the cowboys, and Lucky opened the cell holding the horses. Spirit was tied up, but Lucky mounted him and threw Hendrix into the water. Spirit jumped into the sea, followed by the rest of the horses. Jim and her aunt got into a boat and looked for her. Jim dove into the water, saved her, and they rowed Spirit back to shore. Lucky tied up Hendrix, and her father apologized to her and hugged her. The girls mounted their horses and ran among the herd. Spirit stopped, and Lucky dismounted, said goodbye, and told him she couldn't go with him because her family needed her. She hugged him sadly and bid farewell to the rest of the herd, which returned to the wild. The girls watched from a distance. Lucky returned home, and her aunt told her that summer was over and they were getting ready to return to the city. But they decided to go to the rodeo festival first. Lucky wore her mother's dress and walked with her father, who told her that the festival was her mom's favorite. Lucky decided to stay on the ranch and not return to the city. Jim told everyone about the decision and was happy. He began to sing to her, and Lucky went to dance with the girls. And that's where the movie ends. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any new content.